The game. So we've talked about this in sports in the NBA with Luka, like how much Luka is too much Luka. If he always leads the NBA in what they call usage rate. Well, if the NFL had that, Josh Allen would lead the league in usage rate. Last year, I think 58 touchdowns the Bills had. He was part of 51. Like that, that's not the way you want it. Last night, Buffalo had 4 touchdowns. Josh Allen was part of 1 of the 4. That's what you want. That's what the Celtics did. The Celtics said, we love Jason Tatum. He's all NBA, first team, but we're going to lean into collaborative. Dallas still trying to figure that out with the Mavericks. And I think Buffalo is getting really close. And I think last night was an example. This is what I keep asking with Buffalo. I didn't have them in my top 10 to start the season. Let me watch them. But last night was impressive. I mean, the downfall of the Patriots at the end, they were too reliant on Brady. But the Bills now have a really good running back. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, he and Allen work. They have depth at wide receiver. 2 strong, above-average tight ends. They looked efficient. Not a lot of penalties. Offensive line dominated. 0 sacks allowed. It was, now, Miami's not one of the better defenses in the league, but they're not terrible. I look at this last night, and I think, is this a pivot? Sean McDermott deserves some credit. Last couple of years, they're drafting offensive guys in the first couple rounds, first couple picks. It's tight ends, it's wide receivers, it's running backs. They're trying to get him help. They're not being stubborn. Sean McDermott and the Bills are listening. They're not being stubborn here. I mean, I think Lamar Jackson's amazing. I don't think he can take those kind of hits. I don't think it's sustainable. But I watched last night. Buffalo now feels more complete. They don't have any drama at wide receiver. Offensive line was excellent. A really nice running back. Tight ends, wide receiver depth. I mean, 4 touchdowns. Josh Allen only connected to 1. I think that's the Buffalo Bills that can win a Super Bowl.
Okay. Buffalo Bills can win the Super Bowl. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm in total agreement with Colin. I think I'm still reserving to see what this team continues to look like. But you guys all know that I am just mega high on Josh Allen. I think he is I think you can absolutely make the argument that you should pick, if you were drafting a quarterback right now, that you would pick Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes, which makes a lot of people very upset. So there is no doubting. And you know, in terms of the usage rate of Josh Allen, I've also been railing against because again, you could look at games like Josh Allen going up against Patrick Mahomes, and not only does Josh Allen need to be the lead rusher, but then he also throws the ball more times than Patrick Mahomes has. Josh Allen has more completions and Patrick Mahomes has pass attempts. So, you know, they just ask so much of Josh Allen. And that's always been my frustration and concern, especially because Josh Allen's body is constantly being, you know, on the line. And we saw that even against the Cardinals game. And I think a lot of Bills fans are getting confused because they're talking about like, well, the ball was spread around and he didn't throw that much. But again, when the moment called for it and needed it, Josh Allen needed to lay his body on the line to get those touchdowns. All those touchdowns were because of Josh Allen, right? I think it was like 4 total touchdowns. Like, that is what happens when we talk about it being unsustainable. And, you know, Greg Jennings said that, and Nick Wright said that, and Bruce said that. And a lot of Bills fans, I think, took it the wrong way and are a little confused about what was being said. Because then they came back after this game and they said, oh, yeah, like, what do you have to say now? And it's like, no one's doubting the Buffalo Bills or Josh Allen. You're doubting the sustainability of utilizing Josh Allen in the way that he's being utilized. And this game is a great step forward in that, which is why Colin is highlighting that. The problem is this was a very specific game with a lot of turnovers that were not necessarily because of the Buffalo Bills defense. Some of them were, you know, being physical, being aggressive, and, you know, when you're like that, good things happen. But a couple fluky interceptions, a couple just really bad decisions by Tua, or some, you know, miscommunications with you know, his receivers. So it's just hard to get like a full picture of that. Not to mention the Dolphins did not look good against the Jags. And so it's just kind of like, you know, who is this team actually shaping up to be? So I definitely want to see more games. Also, you know, when the game is close, see how this game was, you know, 13-19, 139 yards, you know, obviously utilizing Cook a lot. But this game was, you know, for the most part, out of reach for Miami. And Josh Allen is a little banged up. right? With his hand obviously wearing the glove and all of that. And which may be a good thing because it may like force him to be like, I can't be Superman right now. I got to hang up the cape. But I need to see what do the Bills look like in a close game, right? Do they continue this type of game plan throughout the season in a close game, in a tightly contested 21-20, 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter? Or does it just kind of revert back to what we've seen previously? Because again, when the game was close, we see Josh Allen turn into Superman, which you want him to do, but it all has to be within reason. It all has to be done in a way that's not sacrificing the future of the season, sacrificing the next quarter even, right? Just even throughout the game. And it's just it's tough. It's a difficult balance when you are such a freak like Josh Allen and so amazing and such a monster, and when some of that part is you being physical, it is hard to kind of balance to figure out, well, when do I rely on that? When do I not? Because you want to use it to a degree, but like, is week 1, week 2 appropriate? And even in the playoffs, if it's the wild card round, do you really want to use it too heavily? Because you got to win this game, and then we need you for this, for the next round, for the AFC Championship game, for the Super Bowl. So it's a tricky thing to try to figure out and balance when to do it. And it seems like Patrick Mahomes over the years has really avoided it. Ever since he got legitimately banged up, he was, him and Andy Reid were pretty much like, you're too important. Like, we need to find different ways to win rather than you sacrificing your ability to stay in a game. We need you to stay healthy. And, any of his, anytime it was time for him to use his more physicality, it was more to buy time or to rip off a run, but then definitely not take a hit. That's not Josh Allen's style. Josh Allen's style is kind of like, you want me, come and get me, let's go. I would personally like to see that evolve. But this game is definitely, like I said, a great step forward. Really exciting if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. But I definitely want to see, if they continue this trend, because I do think it's great having Josh Allen throw the ball 23, 24, 25 times, minimizing his hits himself, staying in the pocket, or if he does rip off a run, sliding, get out of bounds, whatever it may be. Seeing someone like Cook starting, being really comfortable, having the spread, having all of these other options to go to, no pressure to go to one person, Diggs, not having anyone on the sideline causing problems. It's exciting. My only other concern with the Bills is they just have this consistent issue with injuries, which then makes me question, is there an issue with their strength and conditioning, how they prepare? Do they practice too hard? Like, when teams consistently keep having such high levels of injuries and people banged up and key players, a lot of times it can be sometimes it's just luck, sometimes it's just straight up luck, but sometimes it can be traced to, how are these teams preparing? Are they over preparing and now they're kind of fatigued and now they're getting injuries? Or are they under prepared where they're not, prepared enough and they're not working hard enough, so when it is time to like really go on full on contact, their bodies aren't ready for it? Or the strength and conditioning problems, what are the issues here? Again, a lot of teams, you can draw the conclusion, you can point to a concrete thing that's happening. It's not always just, well, man, this is just luck, this is just some bad luck. So that's one of the other things that I do find concerning. A few teams in the past kind of had that issue before, and they were able to rectify it by managing practices differently, having 2 days on, 1 day off. Like, there's all these different things that you can do to kind of help minimize injury risk. And there's definitely multiple schools of thought. Some people believe that you go really, really hard in practice, and then, game day means you're more prepared. There's other people that like to kind of do more pulse, where, again, like I said, 2 days on, 1 day off. Strength and conditioning, again, there's all going to be different philosophies to that. Some really hit the weight room really, really hard, while others are like, no, actually, like, you have your strength base. We're going to rely more on resistance band work. Famously, Tom Brady relying on those types of things. Although I maintain that much of Tom Brady's longevity was luck, and not just because he knows the secret on how to stay healthy forever. Some of it is his training. Some of it is just the genetic luck. Same thing with LeBron James. LeBron James puts in a lot of work, but a lot of it is also just luck and genetics that he does not get injured. So yeah, it's just it's frustrating when this team is already banged up and it's week 2. right? Like, I don't know what's happening. His name is completely slipping my mind, but he has a pectoral injury, which could mean anything. I don't know. Again, I don't know if anything came out from that, if there's a tear or what. Obviously, Josh Allen, week 2, has like a thick glove on his hand. It's just, when you start to kind of have these injuries this early on the season, it can be beneficial. It could be bad or good, right? Because then you could hopefully heal up and be full strength by the time the games really matter, or you're just dealing with these injuries now from the jump into the whole season, and it can just cause you to collapse. And it's just, yeah, it makes you hesitant to be like, okay, like, can this team stay together? Because defensively, they definitely fell apart last season, and you just don't want to see something like that happen again. So I'm curious if there's anything more to that. But yeah, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you definitely have to be really excited with this win. Big divisional win, commanding win. Defense looked good, offense looked good. Really no complaints, no issues, no real things to say, oh man, they got lucky here, or, oh, what about this, what about that? Not really. To me, it's just really kind of continue to wait and see how this team can evolve. Does this team continue to be not so heavily Josh Allen reliant? And if they can be that and still continue to win, and still continue to win in close, big games, because again, here's the last example that I'll use. Look at Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson week 1. It was a close game. Obviously a very close game throughout the whole thing. Lamar Jackson was laying his body on the line. He was taking big hits. He was booking. He was doing everything he could. The game was just intense, just as tight for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was not laying his body on the line. He was working Worthy. He was working Kelsey, right? Rashee Rice, Pacheco. It was a different style of play. I really need to see Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills win those type of really important, tightly contested games without having to lay it on the line. This is not an example of that. They hit the ground running and were able to win. Against the Cardinals, it was a tightly contested, kind of back and forth close game. Josh Allen had to lay his health on this line, his body on the line. I want to see them win games moving forward with Josh Allen doing that less. And if they can, then I 1000% agree with Josh Allen that this team, and Josh Allen especially, can without a doubt win a Super Bowl. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? What do you think Buffalo's ceiling is this ceiling? Do you think they can win a Super Bowl? Do you think there's a lot of takeaways from this game? Or do you think it was kind of too specific of a game to kind of draw any definitive conclusions? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.